felt like she was moving towards the end.
Betsy wrote this little song to celebrate our meeting room. It's simple and sprightly. My favorite room has 8 walls and 3 floors and 3 doors. My favorite room has 8 walls and all the people I love. My favorite room has windows where wind blows and grass grows. My favorite room has windows and all the people I love. My favorite room has you here and me here and we here. My favorite room has you here and all the people I love.
Welcome everyone to the Morristown Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. Welcome to this day of memory and farewell. We have come here this afternoon to mark the passing and to celebrate the life of Betsy Blanchard Burr. And before her death on February 27th, 2025, Betsy graced this world for 83 years, sharing her creativity and keen organizational skills, her kindness and her thoughtfulness, her advocacy for the environment, and above all, her love for her family, her friends, and for this fellowship. And although she was taken from us before we were ready to part with her, Hers was a long and good life, filled with the beauty of nature, of poetry and music, prolific writing, many fun and fulfilling activities as a leader and a volunteer in our congregation, and countless cherished moments with her closest loved ones. And so as we gather together today, let it be gratitude more than sadness that brings us here, gratitude for the gift that Betsy's life was full of moments of great joy, of beauty, of laughter, all wrapped up in love. And this morning, one of the lights of Betsy's life, her daughter Jessica Burr, will light our chalice, symbol of Betsy's Unitarian Universalist faith, as a memorial flame to honor Betsy's life. And Stephen Burr, Betsy's husband, is going to share a poem by Betsy as our chalice lighting words. And this poem is titled "I'm Beginning," and Betsy wrote it toward the end of her life from the point of view of a newborn child. Stephen?
Oh. Oops, wrong one. That's for later. I'm beginning the silent song of the newborn child's first encounters by Betsy Burr, for and from Jessica, who began it all. Hello, whoever you are, it's just me. Whoever that will be, I'm beginning. Hi there, I'm just noticing you. Two eyes that make me see. The world is so much more than me. I'm beginning. What's next? I am truly perplexed, wondering what to do. I'm thinking that since I'm new, I'll go hand in hand with you. I'm beginning. Hang on. I've got your fingertip tight as my own small grip, bound on life's amazing trip. I'm beginning. Now maybe I'll sit up here. I could do that. That would make it simpler. I'm okay. Oh, you don't want me to sit there?
Oh, you're welcome to sit. There's a handle on
I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do.
There's on the chair on the left there.
Oh, that's an armchair. Now I understand what you were trying to tell me. Would you like me to stand up there? I think I'll be fine, actually. Because I can just step up to the podium. We're all getting creaky.
Even before she became the RE director here, we used this song of Betsy's as music for children heading off to RE classes following the family program. It's a song for muff children, Huffity Puffit. Huffity Puffit, let's sing a muff song. I'll play the music if you'll sing along. You are a spring day, you are a flower, you get more wonderful by How did we get here, and where do we go? If you're like me, you really don't know. But I know a secret known to so few. I am a miracle, so are you. Hum-diddy-rum-diddy, strumming along. Hum-diddy-rum-diddy, join in my song. 'Cause we know a secret known to so few. I am a miracle, so are you. Huffity puffit, we've sung a love song. Huffity puffit, enough, run along.
And now Barbara Stasiak will offer a reading of Betsy's poem, Bored.
Betsy wrote this poem after an office conversation with a colleague who declared himself to be bored. That was always a red flag word for Betsy. So she said she went home and let off some steam writing this poem. And later, in the summer of 2008, she read it as part of a fellowship service of women poets. Bored, you say? But how can you be bored when there are water geysers on a moon of Saturn? When you can remember 3 things you got for your 4th birthday? When in order to speak the sentence you just spoke, your tongue knew exactly how to dart around your mouth so that when your vocal cords vibrated, a coherent, if misguided, statement was made. When crows can count and orangutans pick locks. When ducks can sleep with one eye open. When your children love you anyway. When that old desk you are sitting at was made by a Grand Rapids craftsman with a cold that wouldn't quit, who, as he worked, was daydreaming about owning a 1930 Pierce Arrow sports phaeton, Model B. Just as he dovetailed that drawer you were opening, he sneezed and nicked one edge, right there. When the sun is streaming through the windows like mad, life is thick. Oh, please, notice.
Back in 2012, as an exercise at a fall women's retreat, Betsy composed her own obituary. And so let's go ahead and remember her now the way that she herself envisioned being remembered. She began by writing, Betsy Blanchard Burr passed away peacefully last Tuesday, June 21st, at sunset. The date was meaningful for her because it was the summer solstice. She is survived by her husband Stephen and her daughter Jessica. She was the only child of Francis and Eleanor Blanchard. Now, of course, we know that Betsy actually passed away on February 27th, but the rest of her obituary words were spot on. After all, who knew her life better than she knew it herself? And she continued, Betsy was born in San Francisco, California, and grew up in Berkeley, where she was exposed from an early age to exceptional people from academia and various other walks of life, as well as various nationalities, who gathered regularly at her parents' home. She always dated her love of ideas, her intellectual adventuring from the experience of those gatherings. She had a strong love for the culture of San Francisco, which she saw as diverse, community-oriented, creative, and fun-loving. She brought that love with her when she and Stephen moved to Morris County, New Jersey in 1966 after gaining a BA from Pomona College and a master's degree in English literature from Cornell. And the couple soon found that the Morristown Unitarian Fellowship, where she was very active for over 60 years, she was determined to use her energies to bring to the fellowship the spirit of San Francisco and Berkeley as she had known them in her growing up years. She held many, many different positions at the fellowship, including a 2-year stint as president during a time when there was no minister. She always said that she could never imagine her life without the fellowship. In 1976, Betsy developed a form of lay-led service called participatory programming, which she brought to a wider audience in the publication of a UUA brochure, as well as presenting samples of this style of service at General Assembly of the Unitarian Universalist Association. In a participatory service, members of the congregation speak personally on a topic of general interest, showing the diversity that characterizes a Unitarian Universalist congregation. And it became common in the denomination. And as an editorial, I heard about it outside of this community, so it really was famous. And she wrote seven musical comedies that were performed here at the fellowship, including The Wizard of Muff, which she wrote the music for, as well as the book and the lyrics. She was also a poet and an essayist. She published several volumes of her poetry, including Dreaming of Bridges and At Play in the Field of Horses. She also published a book of stories called Dancing with Whales, a book of encounters. A collection of memoir essays and Adventures with David, accounts of her outings in the wilds of Northern California with her mountain man friend, David Schooley. Her working life was somewhat spotty, owing to the need to take care of elderly infirm parents in California for over a quarter of a century. She worked as a legislative analyst for the state of New Jersey, as a writer for an organizational development firm, and as religious education coordinator here at the fellowship, as well as a vendor of handmade using teapots. But she was most proud of her being the founder and the director of Earth Camp, a summer camp for children, which was created to teach the importance of relationship to our planet Earth. A memorial service will be held at a date to be determined. At that service, several pieces of music, which Betsy herself composed, will be performed. In lieu of flowers, contributions may be made to the endowment fund of the Morristown Unitarian Universalist Fellowship or San Bruno Mountain Watch. And as an editorial, the San Bruno Mountain Watch is an environmental group based outside of San Francisco that focuses on conserving the ecology of nearby San Bruno Mountain. And so you will notice today that in honor of Betsy's own wishes, we are sharing music, lots of music that she herself wrote. Now at this time, 2 of Betsy's loved ones would like to share some personal tributes to Betsy, and we begin with her daughter, Jessica Burr.
Thank you all for being here. It means so much to me. What could I possibly say that would do justice to the life of Betsy Burr? She was so many things to so many people: a gifted writer, composer, artist, poet, and public speaker, a thinker, a dreamer, a doer, a lover of people, of animals, of trees, of words, a charismatic leader, a devoted friend, a thoughtful giver, a caring wife. And to me, only me, she was Mom. What a blessing, what a privilege. I can't imagine life without her as my mother. Of course, I owe my very existence to Mom and my dad. According to family lore, they conceived me after an especially good Thanksgiving dinner. There's no place like home for the holidays, I guess. While I wasn't exactly planned, I was eagerly anticipated. But Mom had concerns. Her own mother had lost 2 babies at birth. So when I was born with blue-tinged skin and the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck, my mom feared that I had followed in that sad pattern. But those fears evaporated when the doctor suctioned me out and I began to cry loudly. Mom swore that when they placed me in her arms for the very first time, my eyes locked with hers in an intense, piercing gaze, and she burst into tears. Thus began our lifelong bond. We always loved each other deeply, but I admit I was not so easy to raise. While I was bright, I had perhaps more than my share of challenges in learning how to be a kid, and then a teen, and then an adult. Fortunately, Mom was there for me all the way through, guiding me, encouraging me, and making sure that I got help when I needed it. In all this, she had the able support of my dad, who she often said was a wonderful father to me. Naturally, I agree. But Mom was my closest mentor and greatest cheerleader, dispensing gentle correction, honest praise, and motherly wisdom. She often described parenthood as a dance of loving and letting go. And after I turned 17, she wrote a song, just for me, that advised, grow into the woman, but always take care of the child. Indeed, one of her great gifts to me was an appreciation for the childlike, in the best sense of the word, from animated movies to evening snuggles with the dog. We had 3 dogs, and some cats and hamsters and fish. God bless them all. Of course, my mom was so much more than a wife and mother. She had shown brilliance throughout her student years, though that did not sufficiently impress Yale University's graduate program in English back in the early 60s. You see, as they said in her rejection letter, they already had 3 women. But while her academic dreams ended with a master's degree at Cornell, her brilliance would not be contained, and nowhere did that brilliance shine more brightly than here at the fellowship. This place was her spiritual home and the most fertile ground for her irrepressible creativity, from her stained glass work up in the attic to her development of lay-led Sunday services, to her many, many songs, poems, and musicals. I think she'd want me to add that she was far from alone in showcasing her creativity here. I wish I could adequately describe the fellowship's unique atmosphere in the 1970s and 80s, but I can't. For one thing, I was just a kid at the time. For another, words fail me. All I can say is that there were giants in the fellowship in those days, and Mom was one of them. Mom's many achievements in this place were so impressive that I saw her as a kind of superwoman. She always seemed to be creating something, especially in writing. How often I saw her with a pen or pencil and whatever paper was available, scribbling ideas, crafting poetry, or picking out melodies. This was her way, always, until the last days of her life. Nearly a decade ago, Mom and Dad wisely decided to move to the Cedar Crest senior community, half-hour away, mainly to lighten the burdens that I would face as the only child of aging parents. While this largely took them away from their beloved fellowship, they loved their years in independent living, which were filled with activity and new friends. The pandemic lockdown put this on hold for a time, but we still stayed close with daily phone calls, weekly grocery deliveries, and that one time I made the long hike up the hill to peer through a fence at their smiling faces at a safe distance, to last us until we could be together again and life could return to something resembling normal. Unfortunately, and inevitably, time and age overtake us all. Mom's health grew steadily worse until my parents had to move to more supervised quarters. My dad settled well into assisted living, but it was so hard to see my superwoman mom in the skilled nursing unit, suffering from various afflictions and dependent on others for even basic tasks. Even so, her strength and positive outlook endured. She refused to wallow in sadness, and she looked for the best in everything and everyone. When she saw my eyes fill with tears, she would smile and reassure me that she was doing well and that I was doing my best. I did my best to believe her. Mom spent most of her final week in the hospital with pneumonia. The nurses there insisted that she was getting better, while she insisted that she was getting worse. During my last visit, I sat with her quietly as we watched an old movie. At one point, she said, "My life has been about building bridges between people." I didn't know the end was near, but I gave her permission to go if she needed to. I think she appreciated that. The next day, the hospital sent her home, and she asked me to bring her something sweet that evening. I had a box of sugar-free Frango mints, which she loved, ready to go, but my worn-out body would not comply. And at about 7 p.m., I told her I'd come that weekend instead. She said she understood, and we gave each other our love. Less than 2 hours later, she was gone. As we reflect on Betsy Burr's extraordinary life today, I can't help but think, what could I possibly be that would do her justice? I once felt I would not be able to live without her, but here I am. And maybe that's enough, at least for now. I do know that more than almost anything, she wanted me to live a fulfilling and independent life. So that is what I will aim for, to honor her. Thank you, Mom, for everything.
All right. Made it. So in any case, anyway, Betsy and I were married for 61 years, and it all started with a mutual friend, Pat Sills, lying to both of us. There was a dance that was sponsored by her high school as a private girls' school, and she told me that she was dying to have a date to this dance. And she told her that she knew this boy who was dying to go to a dance to that dance. So we both went, and we managed. But I really couldn't dance at all. I'd had 2 weeks of dance instruction at our junior high school PE period, and that was all. And I had no real sense of rhythm in those days. Is this a waltz? So in any case, so she was going to get her revenge. She was so pissed that when I drove her home, she was going to refuse to kiss me. And I didn't try. And boy, was she pissed at that. But somehow we managed to see each other and go to movies and things. It was about 3 years in our relationship before we got romantic at all. But in any case, there's a lot of things. I remember once there was a folk festival, folk conference at the Berkeley, California campus. And she had told me I shouldn't go. There wasn't much chance to get together. But I snuck in or came in and sat next to her. And she did a true double take. So in any case, then eventually, I think that was before we got romantic. Anyway, then we were married in Yosemite, in the chapel in the valley, the oldest building still standing in the Yosemite Valley. And we were married by a prison chaplain who came up on the weekends from his institution. So in any case, we were married by a prison chaplain, and we had a great reception at the Ahwahnee Hotel, which is a luxury hotel in the valley. Oh, someone has been there. No, never mind. I won't go into so much detail. In any case, we spent our honeymoon in Ensenada, Mexico, down on the Baja California Peninsula. By the way, the newspaper publishing our marriage announcement said we had our honeymoon in Baja Cama, California. And I mean, anybody in California should know perfectly well that there's no comma. Anyway, so, and then we drove north on Highway 1. Now, Highway 1 was mostly cliff hugging. By driving north, I felt safer because there was a big cliff on the right, but the awful drop to the rocks and ocean below was on the left going north. So we did that. We had a wonderful time doing that. We went on that road again in both directions without any great fear, but the first time we did it that way. And it was comforting to know that you probably couldn't fall up a cliff. So in any case, she was really brilliant. I mean, just amazing. By the way, I think I had a terrible sense of humor. Now I think I have a fairly decent one, and I think Betsy taught me. And so in any case, it's already been discussed how much she contributed to Muff. And she was on the search committee for a new minister, and she developed a kind of participational program already been referred to. There is a pamphlet published by the denomination involving lay-led services, a special kind of lay-led services. The very first one was called Leaves from the American Family Tree, about ancestors who had done something significant. And so then she did grandmothers, grandfathers, and did a lot of very meaningful participational programs. And I understand that, from what you said, that pamphlet is still being read and interpreted. What? It was in Chandler, Arizona at one point. Great. So in any case, she also wrote musicals. The first one was about the Fellowship Ghost. It was called La Ghosta della Mansione. It's a pseudo-Italian name. And it was about a Unitarian, in those days, Unitarian exorcism. And in the end, the ghost says, "You guys are too much, I'm leaving." So in any case, she did a lot of such wonderful things. Then, of course, Jessica was born. And that was a wonderful thing. Her birthday is August 24th. So we just had one, or recently had one. We went back to, another musical she wrote was, other two names were The Wizard of Muff and Count Muffula's Castle. And in any case, Jess was born in August, and she's a wonderful daughter. So in any case, at the end, we were both in Mountain View Gardens, but I was on the first floor, she was on the third floor, because I was in assisted living and she was in long-term care. Anyway, as was said, she came home from the hospital with pneumonia, from pneumonia, and I'm so happy we had dinner together in her room. And an hour or two later, she was dead. And I don't know, anyway, we parted as dear, loving friends. Thank you. Let's see now. Maybe I'll just leave this here if that's okay. Now, I've got a creak back to my chair. By the way, old people are supposed to say by cracky. I don't. I say by creaky.
That's Home is probably the most loved number from her hit play, The Wizard of Muff. Think of all the things you love, that's home. All the friends you're mindful of, that's home. It's a feeling deep inside, made of all the tears you've cried and the smiles you've smiled so wide, that's home. Kansas isn't very far away. If you listen to your heart, you'll hear it say that no matter where you go, you take all you love and know. When you truly see it so, you will always be at home this way. There's a front porch and a parlor and an easy chair, cozy as can be. And no matter how long since you've curled up there, they go everywhere with me. Kansas isn't very far away. When I listen to my heart, I hear it say that no matter where I go, I take all I love and know. When I truly see it so, I will always be at home to stay. Think of all the things we love, that's home. All the friends we're mindful of, that's home. It's a feeling deep inside, made of all the tears we've cried and the smiles we've smiled so wide, that's home. Kansas isn't very far away. When we listen to our heart, we hear it say that no matter where we go, we take all we love and know. When we truly see it so, we will always be at home to stay.
Next, Pat De La Fuente will share a few words.
I became close to Betsy when we worked together planning Sunday mornings here at the fellowship. In the 70s and the 80s, we called them programs rather than services, and Betsy often was chair of the program committee. I was often an active member of the committee, helping to create and lead the lay-led services. For a long time, our fellowship had a tradition of shared leadership, in which the minister spoke 2 Sundays, and members created lay-led programs every month. The full committee met once a month and included the minister, the music director, and the RE director. We would critique past Sundays, brainstorm ideas for new programs, and make sure we were all on the same page about what was happening when. It was a lot of work, but it felt worthwhile. Betsy was especially adept at bringing creative new ideas and then developing them with other creative, caring people. Betsy's special contribution was her conviction that everyone had a story to tell, and those stories can be fascinating if we go deep enough. She was gentle but persistent as she'd ask, "Why is that important? What's the story behind the story you're telling?" Somehow she could make us comfortable as we explored themes such as, where did you come from? What was your faith as a child? Who set you on your present course? Where do you want to go from here? Oh, and let me not forget to remind you, Betsy had an incredible sense of humor. She brought out the funny side of each of us. I always think of her hearty, deep laugh, which seemed to come up from her toes until it filled the room. And when any of us shared painful moments on our spiritual journeys, Betsy would remind us, a growth experience is any disaster you survive. Words I turn to for comfort in these especially trying times. When the COVID pandemic hit, the one bright spot was the magic of Zoom, which allowed us virtual visits well beyond the recommended 10 feet of social distance. Betsy and I were in the same community circle. Zoom allowed all of us to share stories and get to know each other in our native habitat, our own homes with our bookshelves or our kitchen counters or gardens as background. All of us except Betsy, whose background was the cosmos, the planets, the stars and galaxies, the whole universe. Often in these past days, I've felt Betsy's presence, often her own creative world, and yet very close to those of us who loved her. She would not be sitting on her well-deserved heavenly throne, but encouraging us to learn each other's stories, to share them, to create community right here, right now, inviting all of us to come along on this exciting journey. Sorry.
Thank you.
Our next reading by Betsy is a poem that some of you may recognize. It is called Learning the Woods, and Marty Weinstein will share that with us now.
This poem came out of my many walks. I'm Betsy, by the way. This poem came out of many walks in the woods with my dog Rufus. His responses to being in the woods added so much so that my own appreciation of the woods of New Jersey was written when he was old, and I imagined what advice he would give to a young dog coming into the woods for the first time. The point is to shove your nose under the winter leaves and push along, flapping your chops, till you've gotten all the smells out. The point is to weave crisscross down the trail, so in case a rabbit sees you coming, you're sideways, bound for somewhere else, and before he knows it, or you either, you step on him. When you see a deer, the point is to make him turn tail and run, so you can run after, but don't get so close he kicks out first. When you see a snake, ignore it. Tend the trees at regular intervals and keep your nose in motion. Don't run out on the ice after the ducks on a warm day. The point is to be glad to come and glad to go home again. When you've learned that, you'll know as much as anyone about the woods.
Now we have a video to enjoy together from Betsy's Odyssey here at Morristown UU. Alex.
We need to accept one another as we are and build community together out of this diversity, and so that we become a very rich patchwork. And I think a sense of humor is key to this. And so I used to write like a musical comedy. Every year I would write a musical comedy spoofing the fellowship in its ways. And it was a big production we put on, and they were a lot of fun. And I did that for about 7 years, I guess. And that was wonderful. I love doing that.
To give us the titles of some of the songs you've written.
Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Well, one of my favorites, of course, is We Are the River, which we sing quite a lot at the fellowship. You know, that's a very meaningful song to me because it's about community, the creation of community in our history with one another and our future as we flow onwards towards the sea. So that's a very meaningful one. It's now this, you don't want to put this in the tape, I don't suppose, but it's all a matter of following the path of love. You just you know, it's very simple once you get on it. Many things are revealed to you just naturally. It just comes, and it's a wonderful, you know, a wonderful thing. And I find that it's a matter of paying exquisite attention to everything and everybody. And one of the great influences on me was the Unitarian principle, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. We're all meaningful. We all have these fabulous doors that open into the universe through us. And exploring, opening those doors is a wonderful, wonderful, you know, way to live. And so, you know, that has been very meaningful to me. Yeah. I mean, after all, we're all part of one another, aren't we?
We started out so small, we were hardly there at all. We are the river flowing on, and in just a little while we have covered many a mile. We are the river flowing on. We are the river. If you like our music, you can join our song. We are the river. Come along, come along, come along.
Now Jerry Weinstein will share a reading from chapter 16 of Betsy's book, Dancing with Whales. It is titled, A Sermon on Mortality with Squirrels.
A sermon
on mortality with squirrels. I've listened to, conducted, and participated in a great many memorable Sunday services at my church over 50 years. Yet it's so easy to forget exactly what was said in those memorable services. A certain alchemy takes place between the speaker and the listener, a kind of dialogue that overlays our personal reactions onto the actual material of the service itself. Because of this alchemy, what is said is very often quite different than what is heard. For me, the most spectacular example of this contradiction occurred with the Reverend Clark Olson, our minister between 1968 and 1978. His particular passion was creative excellence in Sunday services, whether ministerial or lay-led. His motto was, "We can do more." On one particular Sunday morning in 1977, more was done. Clark was to speak on dealing with death on a spectacularly beautiful early spring morning. A wet snow had fallen in the night, coating every branch and defining every twig with an inch of sparkling white material. Clark had arranged all the chairs to face the garden, which used to be over there, by the way, so we could enjoy the dazzling snowy scene. He'd placed the portable lectern to one side of the windows, facing into the room. In the trees, two squirrels chased each other up and down and across the landscape in a courtship ritual. They sprayed cascades of brilliant snow across our field of vision. Like us, they seemed delighted with the newly created wonderland. As we listened to the uplifting strains of Beethoven that began the service, the squirrels dashed back and forth across branches and electrical wires like circus aerialists. Suddenly, in the middle of their high wire act, one squirrel jumped onto a snowy transformer and zap! In a flash, it was electrocuted. Its lifeless body plummeted to the earth. Just as Beethoven's solemn music swelled grandly to a close, Clark rose to speak about mortality. At least two of those present had no idea what had just occurred. One was Clark, preoccupied with his coming talk. The other was the remaining squirrel. As Clark spoke of the mysteries of existence, the newly widowed creature darted back and forth in obvious puzzlement, looking in vain for its erstwhile mate. The rest of us sat stunned and silent. Clark must have felt his words greatly affected us. The sincerity of our response seemed to move him to new heights of eloquence. As he warmed to his topic, the room got gradually darker. I looked questioningly at a friend, an electrical engineer sitting next to me. He gestured from the lights to the transformer outside and shrugged. Of course, the electrocution of the squirrel had damaged the transformer, causing a slow fade out of the building's power. Whatever the material cause, the spiritual effect was to heighten the impact of Clark's talk even further. I'll never forget the lyrical intensity of his words as they rang out into the gradually dimming room, while the lone squirrel darted back and forth. On the other hand, no matter how hard I try, I can't remember a word he said.
All right, so now Betsy's family invites you to share your own memories and tributes. I ask that you keep your remarks somewhat brief so that everyone who would like to do so will have a chance to share. A gentle heads up to you in advance that if your remarks start running a little on the long side, you might notice me maybe stand up. That's your cue to go ahead and begin, wrapping it up. If things continue much longer after that, I'll come over to you and perhaps place an arm around your shoulder. And that'll be your reminder to go ahead and finish so that we have time for everyone. If you would like to share, you have a couple of options. One option is you can line up, actually you have three options. One option is you can line up here on the left and come up and use the pulpit. Another option, if you prefer to speak from the ground floors, we have this microphone there. And if you would like to speak and have the microphone brought to you, just raise your hand and I'll pick it up and bring it on over to you. And I'm also asking that if you be sure to speak into the microphone. We do have some people who are joining our service online, and so we want to make sure that they are able to hear as well. So please, I'll bring the microphone back to you, and then we...
Thank you. Can you hear me? I'm Janine Torciello, and Betsy was a great mentor to me. I was on the Sunday Services Committee with her, actually during that period of time when she traveled back and forth quite a bit to California was when I first was on the committee with her. And then I ended up, after her successor, Leslie Crozier, I became the Sunday Services chair for many years, and Betsy helped me tremendously. We did a service at the beginning of each year where we tried to sort of set the tone for the year. And this particular year, we did a sort of exploring what the fellowship meant to us. And she volunteered me to take, we did interviews with different fellowship members, and she gave me all the stuff and said, "You're going to write a poem." And I'm like, okay. So this is the poem. It's called Like Darwin's Ark. This same crescendo, like the static between two radio stations, or the hubbub around a noisy Thanksgiving table, greets all who cross this door. These voices echo endlessly, draw me in or drown me, sometimes drive me crazy or away, always haunt this space. We step inside this hall meaning well, whether we agree or not, whether we believe or not, whether we come to this place with a young soul or an old soul, or no soul at all but the one on the bottom of our maroon rock ports. With weak limbs and knees shaking, climbing stairs too steep to see the higher ground, or fingers too unnerved to move in normal rhythms, carrying bags filled with hand-sewn rags, tattering like the muscle of a wounded heart, or empty since the red and orange glow of that initial light dreamed once in the tepid pool of the womb's watery dance. Smelling of jasmine or musty hallways, reading manuscripts or memos, riding on the scaled back of an ancient sea turtle like Darwin's Ark, where 2 by 2 by 2 or 3 more interesting animals than Noah's grow out of the impulses of life itself, that no one can predict, that no one can control, shaded in the balancing color of gray, the in-between where we all meet halfway, or bathed in the purple-rich passion and deeper meaning. The symbols on the wall clash like cymbals in an orchestra, or enliven us the way rain falling gently on a tin roof reassures us, and we pass on a flaming chalice salted by the fire from which our children's children will warm this planet. Thank you for teaching me, Betsy. Thank you for loving us. We'll miss you.
By my old growing up faith tradition, today is All Saints' Day. So I want to salute Betsy as one of my patron saints. I'm so grateful for so many things in my earliest days here, for the Earth Camp that she created and that my children and my children's children attended for 2 summers, I think, for the participational services that I got to be part of and then eventually got to lead under her direction and with her encouragement, for some of the musical theater events. One that I remember is Guys and Dollars, because I think I was asked to help direct that. And I learned that I had a lot to learn about that, but I was always encouraged by Betsy, as so many of us were, to try things, to develop our abilities in new ways together. Some of us, many of us who are in this room, got to play Glinda in The Wizard of Muff. I know there's one, well, you were Dorothy, Mary, and I was Glinda. And Karen, did you do it once? So, we took turns at that kind of thing because it was so beloved. And she encouraged me to be more musical, to develop things. And one thing I remember in particular, after directing the children's choir for a while, she was doing an Earth Day service. And she said, what can you come up with music? So I took a big thing, the Regina Coeli from the opera, Cavalleria Rusticana. And it's a hymn to Mary, the Virgin Mother. But the English words that I brought to this group of about 30 women up on the second floor, and we learned together, were praising all the goddesses that we had learned about in Cakes for the Queen of Heaven. So the Regina Coeli, the Queen of Heaven that we saluted, was much broader here in our UU world. There are so many other things that so many of us shared, but I'll stop there and just say I'm thankful for learning from Betsy's encouragement, to be creative, to be collaborative, to be connected. And that's what this beautiful community is about for so many of us.
So many memories. Green, okay. But the one that's maybe the most important to me, I'd been here a year or so, I guess, and Betsy did the service telling us about Jessica's going off to college. And at that point, the membership book was out in the Great Hall, and I went running out of the room with the tears streaming down my eyes and signed the book.
Hi, I'm Marjorie Wormser, and I first met Betsy probably through the Sunday Service Committee, as it was called at that time. It's now called Worship Arts. But there's one thing I haven't heard lifted up about Betsy, and that is her incredible aesthetic sense. Betsy often wore handmade, handcrafted garments and accessories, and she and I share a love of that, and we would often greet each other and then just take a moment and admire one another's creations, and that was a special bond that we had. And I feel especially privileged to have been mentored both by Betsy Burr and Janine Torsiello. But in the course of creating lay-led services, Betsy wanted always to impart knowledge and mentoring and learning, and I have an especially happy memory of sitting in Betsy's home with Carol Titus, and the three of us crafted a primer for how to create a lay-led service, because there are many people who want to but don't know how. And I think that was the one and only time I was in your home. And it just stays with me. There was one time in the growth and development of the Sunday Service Committee where our minister at the time felt that Betsy is so brilliant and so big and so present that sometimes newcomers to the team might feel a little intimidated. And then came the difficult and delicate decision that maybe after 40 years of service on that committee, it might be time to ask Betsy to take a sabbatical, which was a really tough thing to ask and a tough thing to be asked. And Betsy was just so strong and resilient that she consented to take a step back and continue to contribute in many ways through music, through lyrics, through poetry, through services, participating in services and helping create them. And we came back in full circle and continued to admire one another's creations when we wore them. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Courtley, and some moments and memories of Betsy. One is coming home and hearing her on our answering machine, where she would be singing because a song had come to her, and what could we do about this? So and then a song would be transcribed and go to work with Betsy. A second was dinners at Stephen and Betsy's, where there would be a roast and their always popular Pavarotti pasta, which was a real treat and so easy that we're still making it in our family. And a third is when I was very ill almost 40 years ago now, that one day, it was in the holiday season, Betsy and Stephen showed up at our front door with several other fellowship folks that they had gathered together, and they started singing Christmas carols at our front door. And that was Betsy and Stephen.
Hi, I'm Paul Firm, and I'm just inspired to share a couple really fun memories. One, there was a modern dance group here, and Betsy, one year when they discovered the Higgs boson, and we can talk about this tomorrow at 9 a.m. at the Science and Spirituality meeting, created a dance based on the noise that was collected when they discovered the boson, and she inscripted the group to dance like chaotic subatomic particles, and she needed a heavy, super heavy boson, the Higgs boson, which is this infinitely heavy subatomic particle. So my role as a non-dancer was to stately walk up to the stage and stand here and not move and have everyone bounce into me, which I found really delightful. And incredibly cute. I just what a creative person. But sometimes she would miss things. So after she saw my dancing skills, somehow she got it in her head, I'm going to read my poem about this old dog, Gus, and the yippy young dog named Rufus. And while I read it, I would like you, Paul, and Helene to enact it. So Paul, of course, you'll be the quiet person, and then Helene, you can zip around him and yap. And Helene said, Betsy, you so don't understand our relationship. Just reverse that. So I was the yippee guy, and I think I did okay in that role. I love your mom. Every time I hear a song, thank you for sharing today.
Hi, I'm Jim Deek. Sally and I came to the fellowship in 1985, And our daughter Jillian, she had a naming ceremony here. And during the talks, they mentioned the training that Betsy held for people who were going to be in lay-led programs. And as a result, I was in quite a few of those. And I was probably, as far as Betsy is concerned, an intimidatee, a person who's intimidated by someone's creativity. I did attend a training session that she held for people who were going to be in lay-led programs. And one of the things that I remembered that stuck with me through my whole life was that she had a rule that when you gave a talk, it should be 4 minutes long, and which was a really an appropriate length of time. And every time I had to give a talk at the fellowship or anywhere else, I remembered that 4-minute interval of time, and it's really an appropriate length of time, because after that, people lose interest. But I do remember she was a tough taskmaster in those training sessions. And I wish her well wherever she is, if there is a place to be. She was a wonderful woman. I learned a lot from her, and all of us did. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Wendy, and I kind of grew up a bit here in the fellowship along with Jessica, and along with my sister Sue, who's here, and then my parents, Lila and Charlie Honeywell, who were, for us, the Burrs were like a huge part of the fellowship. And so I really wanted to, unfortunately my mom couldn't make it today. She lives upstate New York in Canton, and she, of course, would love to share all of her fond memories, I'm sure. Recently, a few years ago, my mom came down and we went to Cedar Crest and we visited, and Mom and Betsy and I went to the cafeteria or the restaurant there, and Betsy read me a story about walking on a beach and finding a whale that had been stranded, and how she came around the side of the whale and she looked in its eye and she had this moment of communion. And it sort of reminds me of what she said in the video here about the interdependence, that we're all part of one interdependent web of people and life. And I think that, that she brought that with her at all times, and she communicated that to people. And also her words do continue on as you found them. My mother up in Canton, a couple of years ago, I think now, did a lay service, or did a reading, I think, at her local Unitarian church, and her reading was of Betsy's work. Thank you all.
Some of you may remember me. I'm Dave Van Zant, and I was involved here at the fellowship from 1980 to 1996 when I moved up to central Massachusetts. I got involved with a small Unitarian Universalist congregation in Grafton, Massachusetts, and immediately started to chair their worship committee. And that was based upon my years of experience co-chairing and being a member of, dare I say it, the worship committee here at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. About a year into my tenure, our minister left in January, which left us without a minister February into June. I was chairing the worship committee. In order to pull that committee together, can anybody here guess who I channeled? The message is our interactions with others can have a profound effect in ways we can never imagine.
I'd like a very brief thing. I'm not here as Donald Trump. I'm here just to say a little bit about her book, Dancing with Whales. I wanted to say it's possible she's the only human being who could have ever said legitimately that she danced with whales. I'll tell you the story. I'll shorten it greatly, but she was on a beach. At least in California, there is a phenomenon called Senior Ditch Day. And a sanctioned day, the seniors went off and had a party somewhere. And so they went to this beach, and they're hoping for beach boys. There weren't any. It was a girls' school, by the way. And but along came a pod of whales, probably California grays, and they came up on the beach. And she was determined to warn them off the beach. It was so dangerous for them, she thought. Apparently it wasn't, but that's another story. And she ran and tried to get them to go back into the water. They ignored her, but she then got so excited that she danced among them with the thought that, oh God, if they zigged where I zagged, then I would be done for. But what a way to go. So she danced among the whales. Yeah, I hope other people have things to say, not just me.
Do we have anyone else? Okay. Please join me now in the spirit of meditation or prayer. Spirit of life and love, great God, you who are known by many names, hold us as we gather today to celebrate Betsy's life. Surround us in comfort now as we experience the grief that comes with such a deep loss. Help us to find strength in one another. Let us feel the love surrounding us today, the love of family and friends who have come together to bid farewell to one of their own. Spirit of life and love, we give thanks today for the gift of Betsy's life. Thank you for the countless number of lives that she was able to touch throughout her time here on earth. Keep Betsy close to our thoughts and to our hearts so that our spirits might be lifted by the memory of this wonderful woman who will always be loved and deeply missed. Comfort us with memories of Betsy as a mother, a wife, and a friend. May our hearts be filled with gratitude for the life of this woman. Amen. And blessed be. Today we have said our goodbyes and shared our love for Betsy, a unique and brilliant spark of life. From stardust she was formed, and now we commit her light to the stars to which she has returned, recognizing with deep reverence a life well lived. And now the time has come for us to conclude our service. And as is custom in Unitarian Universalist services, Betsy's daughter, Jessica, will now extinguish our chalice flame to mark the end of our service today. Although we've extinguished this flame, let us be confident that such goodness, such happiness and compassion and love as Betsy's never touched the face of the earth without creating something eternal. Her bright spirit radiates still through our world as well as through our own lives. Let us seek, therefore, to let our lives be her legacy, for her light is now ours to carry forward out into the world. May we celebrate Betsy's lives and the lives we now lead, for we are her honor and her memorial. All of her best qualities we now carry forward, for we are her voice, her hands, and her heart. And we close our celebration of Betsy's life with the lyrics of a song that she penned called Farewell Song. God bless Whatever happens next, I must confess, you are dearer to my eyes than the sun that fills the skies. Love is such a sweet surprise. God bless. May peace be with Betsy as her spirit flies free with her family, her friends, and all of those she loved, and may peace at last be with us all. And we're going to continue our celebration of Betsy's life during our reception, which is in our great hall. And we also have some seating in the terrace room as well as the library. So thank you for coming. And now, it wouldn't be appropriate to end, without singing one of Betsy's songs. So please rise as you are able. We're going to lift our voices with a hymn that she wrote and we all know and love. We Are the River.